Okay, it is post-game for the final time this season. Jordan Kiss with assistant coach Harry Mahesh. Kings coming up short here in Game 5, 8-2 as the Eagles win this series 4-1. And Harry, obviously, not the way this team envisioned it ending with the way the third period unfolded. But overall, I think you still have to like the way that this team competed here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a close game, 40 seconds left there in the second. And, I mean, that little bounce gaff kind of, unlucky play. I mean, ultimately kind of sums up our season. We're right there, and then it's just, you just have a little miscue and a kind of a lucky break that goes their way. And, yeah, and then, from there it just doesn't get any better.
Well, the first period, you guys came out flying in the first 10 minutes. You guys had that first half that you wanted to, unable to, to get a goal. But at the end of the day, you were controlling play. You were getting to the front of the net. You were getting to the middle. And again, it was a great start to this one.
Yeah, very good start. We got the first goal. We liked a lot of the stuff we did. Coming into this rink, and it didn't feel unfamiliar. Obviously, we've been here a few times in the last couple of weeks, so. Everything felt pretty comfortable, and we felt like we were doing kind of what we needed to do, and like the first 39 minutes, 39 minutes felt pretty good.
And then, so 1-1 tie after the first period. Second period, they start to take over a little bit. They get the power play goal, but you guys respond almost right away with the Sam Schoenfeld shot.
Yeah, and I mean, even that power play goal, it's off of a broken stick. Kind of a, I wouldn't call it lucky, but, just one of those ones where it's just unconventional, a broken stick, puck kind of gets lost, finds back the net. But we come right back and we score. And, at that point, the shots were pretty even. The game was pretty back and forth. The bench felt pretty good. Even when we were down one, it didn't really feel like it has at times. And, yeah, it was a really good game. And, it was just too bad we couldn't finish that way.
And you did mention that goal late in the second period really kind of really swinging out the momentum in this game.
Yeah, and the penalty kill was doing a lot of good things all series. And you look at the ones they got. The first one of the series was off a skate. The second one was off of shin pads. The third one was a little bit of a tangle up with the goalie, and then the one today a broken stick, and then that last one. Okay, yeah, that one was a good play, but yeah, it's just one of those things where it's it's a game of little things like that, and we didn't always maybe deserve the bounces, but we definitely sure had a lot go against us as well.
So then third period, you're down by 1. It's a rough start to the third. Two penalties taken, and then they score 1, and then the wheels just kind of fall off the bus at that point.
I mean, in an elimination game, to call a roughing penalty in open ice, it just. I don't know. I just, that's just different. It just seems like the management of that call could have been a little bit different. Again, you lose and you talk about reffing, and it's a broken record and nobody wants to hear it. But it just seems like there was a lot of that little frustration on our side. And, and then, obviously now you're killing penalties when you're down a goal, and that's, a time where, you're urgent. You want to take chances. You want to kind of try to create because there's, you're essentially do or die. And I think with some of the ways we tried to press, it just kind of opened up some holes and they capitalized. But at that point we were down and we kind of had to do whatever we could.
Well, again, not the way you wanted to end, but overall I think this series, it was a very good series for this Kings team. There was a lot of great play. They really took it to the Surrey Eagles team. Brock didn't mention earlier that, felt like that, 3 of the 5 games, I guess now this Kings team was better than the Eagles. And, the opportunities were there. It was just the managing of, or just the Kings weren't able to take advantage. Well, the Eagles did.
Yeah. I mean, games 1 and 5, there's, no doubt that, that was that Surrey Eagles team that, have been dominant all year. 2, 3, and 4 was a lot tighter, one thing I'm just proud is that we did our, we did what we wanted to do. We were playing good hockey. I mean, anybody who's followed us all year has known we only play entertaining hockey games. And I just like the fact that, everything we did, we liked. We just, it's just that last little detail of scoring that kind of hurt us in a couple of games. And then tonight, it was just, the special teams could have been a little bit better, of course. parts, times in this series, but it is what it is. I mean, they're a really good team. Their record kind of proves that, and from where we were in October to how we finished, I think it's something to be proud of.
Yeah, I know at the end of the regular season we did kind of a season recap on your thoughts, but just overall as a whole throughout the course of the year, from where this team started back in October to it wasn't great. Then November comes around, and from that point on, this team was very competitive against anybody they played. You mentioned entertaining hockey; they were in every game, and you just saw the growth in this team week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at kind of where we were in the standings and. When you're dealing with kids at this age, it's a lot, is mental. And, there was times in the season where we looked like we could have given up. There was a lot of times, and I just can't explain just how awesome it was coming to the rink with these guys. And, every single day these guys gave it their all. I mean, we had some low points in the season, and these guys, they honestly showed up every day. And you, as a coach, you're kind of waiting for things to unravel. I mean, you do your best to make sure that things don't, but you're waiting for, things to kind of open up at the seams and things to kind of, go haywire with, which happens at this level. But these guys just kept it together. The leadership in that room and that group of guys that just showed up every day. And some of the hardest working guys that I've ever had the privilege of coaching were on this team, like guys that spent hours at the gym doing film. And as a coach, you look at your record and you show up to the rink, and it just never felt like we were that team that had that record. We always felt, I said it all the time, we felt like we were better than our record. And these guys just made it so easy and so much fun to come to the rink every day.
Well, I want to talk about our 20-year-olds because the spotlight should be shined on them. Dylan Hewlett, Sam Schoenfeld, Cam Simons. Let's start off with Dylan Hewlett, longest tenured King. You saw him throughout the course of the season really take a step up in a leadership role. What can you tell us about Dylan, even though you're only able to coach him for just the one season?
Well, just the fact, you could just tell he was a kind of a seasoned vet. I mean, he was always calm. His demeanor on the bench, off the ice, was just a guy who'd been in the league for 4 years. He was reliable in every situation. He played power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5. I had no doubt that, he was a guy that, when he was on the ice, you just felt comfortable because you knew he had, all that experience and that composure. And, he was a fun guy, and, the guys in the room absolutely loved him, Yeah, I know, he's been with Brock for 4 years, and, it's when you have a coach for that long at any level, it can be tough sometimes. You can have a great relationship, or, things can be difficult. And, just seeing how those two interacted, you could tell they had a really close-knit bond, and I'm just very happy I got to be a part of his career.
Let's move on to Cam Simons. What a story he was this year. 20-year-old, first-year junior A. Took him a while to score his first goal. I think 18 games. He had probably more chances than anybody early in the season. Couldn't buy one. Then he finally got one on Parents' Weekend of all weekends. And from there on, the floodgates opened and he became a reliable, top 6 power forward for this Kings team.
Yeah, I mean, when we first saw him in camp, we were just, in awe of, his shooting, his skating. He's a physical specimen off the ice, for his age. A guy who works and is committed to, just being a good athlete. And, yeah, he had obviously a slow start, and at that point, I don't know if we were ever concerned. We all just kind of knew that when he got going, it was going to be unstoppable, and that, you summed it up. He got that first goal, and I think from that point on, he was pretty much a point-of-game player for the last 40 games or so. But just what a pleasure, just such a great, positive guy. I mean, he's a 20-year-old guy, but, at times he was, just a big smile on his face all the time, and just a power forward at his size. He can skate, he can hit, he can shoot, scored some great goals, and just an absolute workhorse. And, a guy who's going to, just starting to learn the game, X and O's wise, and just going to have a great future ahead of him.
And then Sam Schoenfeld, 20-year-old, big defenseman. Good way to finish off for him in his final game, getting a goal back in the second period. But just, again, a steady guy in the locker room, a guy you can trust out there to play, any defensive zone shift, penalty kill, block shots, do it all. What can you say about Sam?
just an ultimate leader. Again, another veteran, and as a D coach, just kind of the ultimate guy you want back there. With his size, his reach. He's a good skater. His awareness, and again, just is no different than Hewlett. Like when he's out there, you just know that leadership, that experience will come through. I mean, he scored some big goals for us this year. I don't know what he finished with, maybe 3 or 4 in the regular season, a big one here tonight. A highlight reel goal. You knew exactly what to expect from him, but sometimes he would do things that you wouldn't expect. And, the guys just loved having him around. And, these are all guys that are going to be tough to replace. And I think, that's a positive thing to say about your 20-year-olds because, they're essentially the guys that everybody looks up to, and I couldn't be more proud to have those 3 guys on the team this year.
And then for you, it was your first season here with the Kings. What are you able to take away from this year?
I mean, I'll start off with just how awesome the town was. I mean, I'm a BC kid, but I never made my way over to Pell River, and the town was just so warm and inviting. I remember the first week I got here, just running into people in the town and meeting the guys. Brock and I had crossed paths. I knew of Kyle. Just we flip flopped. He came out to BC. I went out to Winnipeg, and just an absolute pleasure working with those 2 guys. It was just so much fun to work with guys your own age that had similar experiences and backgrounds, and I learned a lot from those 2 guys, and obviously the rest of our staff. You as well, Kisser. This has been an absolute pleasure. Being on the mic and on camera with you, and I want to thank you. I mean, you're the voice of the Kings, and anybody who's listened and watched, you don't know how much dedication and work you put behind the scenes, and it's not just the coaches and the players. It was all of our volunteer staff, our fans. I mean, I absolutely loved this season. Anybody who's asked me what it was like, it was one of the best seasons I've had. The last couple of years coaching through COVID and all that, it's a lot of bumpy roads for players and coaches alike, and just coming here and getting settled has just been a blessing, and I'm just so happy it worked out.
And now, before we get you going, what can you say to the Kings fans out there as the season has ended, but of course, lots to look forward to, going into next year. No, it's still really early to start thinking about that, but obviously, with the pieces this team has and the experience and what they were able to learn this year, it's going to really reflect next season.
Yeah, if you haven't been able to come to a game, or if you listen on radio, or if you've come to every game, we were just a fun team to follow. I mean, if you weren't a fan of us or not, if you got to watch us play every night, it was an exciting hockey. And with the players that are eligible to return, I know the hockey world is crazy, and you can never really rely on, rosters always being the same. But with the group we have, and just, the adversity that we faced, I think everybody got better. At this age, these guys are great athletes, and they take such good care of themselves. And I honestly think the biggest separation at this level is mental. And I think every single one of our players came out mentally stronger from this season. And I think that's what's going to carry over, the most next season.
Well, as we wrap up, Harry, I thank you very much for taking all this time after games to join me, put it up with all my questions. And I should mention, when we did our first post-game interview, that was in Salmon That was the point the season started to turn around.
Yeah.
So we'll point everything back to that. But thank you very much. Thank you for everything you've done, on the bench with this Kings team. I thank you very much. It was a pleasure to get to know you and work with you this year.
Same here, Kester, and I really look forward and hope to do this again with you.